In 2006, Todd Hunter would put together a new version of Dragon, 8 years after the band effectively ended due to the death of his brother Marc, who had been the band's lead singer. However, the decision to create this new version of the band would draw much controversy, as many believed Marc Hunter was irreplaceable. Added to this was the fact that the 3 other members who would make up this new version of the band had never had any involvement with the band in the past. The new lineup would feature Mark Williams on lead vocals. Despite being well known in New Zealand and also having had some chart success in Australia as a solo artist, Mark Williams' vocal style sounded nothing like Marc Hunter. His look and stage presence was also at odds with the charismatic frontman who Dragon fans had come to love in the 70s and 80s.
All I know is that there were people that were dead against the fact that I was going to be the singer of the band, or that the band was going to start up again.
Also in this new lineup was Pete Drummond, who was not even born when Dragon first formed, and Bruce Reid, a Canadian guitarist who had never even heard of the band.
I really didn't have any idea of Dragon. Dragon didn't exist in Canada, really. First time I met Todd was actually the first day we rehearsed together.
Despite all of this, the new lineup would tour Australia and New Zealand for 20 years and receive mixed reviews and reactions from fans and the media. In this video, we're going to look at the pros and the cons of this reformed lineup. Firstly, let's look at the pros. Since 1973, Dragon have had dozens of members come and go.
I couldn't even begin to tell you how many people went through the band.
During their charting years in the 70s and 80s, the most recognisable lineup of the band would be that of the Hunter brothers, Paul Hewson, Robert Taylor and Kerry Jacobson. This was a lineup which recorded their 3 biggest hits. However, even this version of the band would only last 2.5 years before changes were made. And although these 5 members would then reunite in 1982, it would only be 12 months before drummer Kerry Jacobson would depart, and the revolving door would begin to take effect. It should also be noted that in 1979, Marc Hunter had left the band, but they still had a hit in the top 40 charts with a new singer named Billy Rogers, so there certainly had been versions of Dragon that didn't feature Marc Hunter. The new lineup which Todd Hunter put together in 2006 would not have any chart success, however it would prove to be the most stable lineup the band has ever seen, lasting almost 20 years until Pete Drummond departed.
Those songs meant so much to so many people. It wasn't about replacing Marc Hunter, it was about keeping the songs alive.
Many would say that this new version of the band has kept Dragon's music alive and helped preserve the memory of members who are now deceased. Now let's look at the cons.
Marc Hunter, as a front man in a band, is irreplaceable. You can't do it.
Although there had been times when Dragon did not have Marc Hunter in the band, these brief moments would prove to be very unsuccessful. Marc's voice, charisma and stage presence was something that could not be replaced. To add to this, there were several other members who played key roles in Dragon throughout their charting years, some who were still alive and available to play in 2006. Some even sang lead vocals on tracks that were favourites with fans in their live performances. However, they were not included in this new lineup. The modern day version of Dragon looks and sounds nothing like the Dragon that we would come to know and love in the 70s and 80s, and has been described as a mediocre tribute band. There have even been some shows where Todd Hunter has been absent, which has meant that not one person on stage would have any link to the band's past. Despite this band calling itself Dragon, the lack of authenticity is striking. In 2008, Dragon would be inducted into the ARIA Hall of Fame. Alongside Todd, Robert Taylor, Kerry Jacobson and Alan Mansfield would be inducted, as they were the 4 living members of the band who had made the most significant contributions. During the ceremony, this version of the band would play Rain and April Sun in Cuba, with Ian Moss and James Rain singing lead vocals. Todd, playing with the 3 other ex-members, looked a lot more like Dragon than any other version that we have seen in this millennium. Perhaps if these 4 members had been the ones who made up the reformed Dragon in 2006, public sentiment might have been somewhat different. These same 4 members would also be inducted into the New Zealand Music Hall of Fame in 2011. However, after this, Dragon would return to performing with just Todd and the 3 other members who had no connection with the band's past.
It's a pretty cheeky thing to do. Just, it brings into all those things into question, like what actually is a band? If you get a bunch of people together in a room and say, we're the band, are you the band?
Dragon is a name, a brand, that earned its reputation, its fame, its notoriety. It was earned due to the musical talent, songwriting ability and vocals of several people. And to have 3 new members come in and take over what had been created by others is something that doesn't sit well with many people. particularly with fans of the band from their most successful era. So to sum it up, in the opinion of this channel, we believe the current version of Dragon is simply just a tribute band with an original bassist. Basically, it's a band that identifies as Dragon, but isn't really a biological dragon. But if people are enjoying their shows, then perhaps they're doing no harm. Some have commented how good the show is, so we would in no way want to discourage anyone from going to their gigs. What's your opinion? Let us know what you think in the comments. And be sure to hit the subscribe button for more classic Dragon.